there's evil, there's cartoon villainy, and then there's him. The flamboyant, shape-shifting, fear-feeding monstrosity from the Powerpuff Girls who casually refers to himself in third person, glides around on lobster claws, and could give Satan a run for his money in both fashion and psychological warfare. Him isn't your average bad guy. He doesn't just rob banks or tie people to train tracks. Oh no. He manipulates reality, plays with people's minds like they're chew toys, and unleashes emotional damage on a level that no therapist could ever fix. Let's rewind to his debut. Remember the episode Octi Evil? This is when him possesses a stuffed toy to psychologically torment Bubbles.
Yes, Bubbles, I can.
We're not talking about a simple prank here. This is targeted emotional abuse. Him isolates Bubbles from her sisters, gaslights her into paranoia, and nearly causes a family meltdown.
Stupid little girl. Huh? They're fighting because of you.
In the real world, psychological manipulation like this, especially involving a minor, could be prosecuted under emotional abuse or coercive control laws. While these charges can vary, they're not light. He's looking at up to 5 years per incident, and let's be real, he doesn't just stop with Bubbles. Then there's the little matter of, well, everything in the episode Speed Demon. Him tricks the girls into time traveling into a future where he's taken over the world. The skies are red. Townsville is in ruins and everyone's either in chains or has completely given up hope.
It's our school. I just stood there waving goodbye. 50 years, 50 years, 50 years.
Him rules over a dystopian nightmare with zero resistance, and he's loving it. Now, in legal terms, this is a masterclass in unlawful imprisonment, terrorism, and psychological warfare. Controlling an entire city through fear and force isn't just evil, it's several life sentences. But this is still just the beginning. Because him doesn't get caught monologuing like other villains. He wants you to suffer, he gets inside your head, twists your deepest fears, and dances in your despair. Every time the girls think they've won, he returns like a bad dream, wearing heels.
Go and destroy the world. It's a man.
And he's not above using kids as pawns either. Remember when he brainwashed the children of Townsville to turn against their heroes?
I said get your hands off of me! But lady, we're trying to help you get... Billy threw a paper ball at me.
Billy Lipowitz just won't do. You should try apples, they're much harder.
Hey!
That's inciting civil unrest using minors, and depending on the jurisdiction, could land him another 10 to 20 years, not to mention the court-mandated therapy bills for every single citizen under 12. And through all of this, him never once tries to steal money, conquer a planet, or get rich. He just wants to watch the world suffer slowly. That's probably the most terrifying thing about him. He doesn't need a reason. So far, him's sentence is already stacking up faster than Bubbles' breakdowns. And we're only scratching the surface. There's still the mind control, the apocalyptic invasions, and don't even get me started on the alternate dimensions. But before we dive into the world-ending felonies, let's take a moment. If you're enjoying this deep dive into him's unholy rap sheet, consider subscribing. It won't stop him from haunting your dreams, but it might make him slightly jealous that you're finally giving someone else your attention. Plus, if you don't, well, let's just say he knows where you sleep. Excellent. Now that we've laid the foundation for him's minor crimes, if psychological torment and citywide manipulation can be considered minor, it's time to crank things up to full-blown apocalyptic. You may recall the episode where him literally bends time and space just to prove a point. Not to rule the world, not to get revenge. No, just to show the Powerpuff Girls what the world looks like without them.
You weren't here to protect us. You weren't. It's your fault. Your fault.
A world where hope is dead, citizens shuffle around in despair, and him is the undisputed king of suffering.
You did this. You did this.
It's basically The Handmaid's Tale meets RuPaul's Drag Race, Demon Edition. Now, tampering with time. In the real world, we obviously don't have laws against time travel. Yet. But let's look at the implications. If someone created a reality where they ruled through fear and hopelessness, while erasing public safety and individual rights, that's essentially unlawful seizure of government, dictatorship through terror, and crimes against humanity. In international law, these can lead to life imprisonment, or in theory, the death penalty. And him did it without lifting a claw. Just a little cackling, a glittery cloud of smoke, and boom, totalitarian horror show. And speaking of horror, we can't forget him's flair for mind control.
Taking all of their love for you, and
In multiple episodes, he turns innocent citizens, children mind you, into violent mobs or helpless pawns.
Yeah! They're just pawns in his evil scheme.
He doesn't control them through logic or deception. He literally possesses them.
Destroy them.
That's textbook psychic coercion, loss of autonomy, and in legal terms, mass manipulation, using supernatural force, if such a clause existed. But since we're translating to the real world, the closest equivalents would be unlawful imprisonment, aggravated assault by proxy, and biological terrorism if there's any mental residue left in the victims. He's not just committing a crime, he's using you to commit it for him. And he does it with such a smug smile, like it's all performance art. There's also the small matter of him attacking the fabric of reality itself. In one episode, him literally warps reality to mess with the Powerpuff Girls.
50 years.
The beauty lies in the flame. Because it's
He doesn't just break laws, he breaks physics.
all I did was take over. It was easy.
The city loops through madness, the skies shift colors, and logic goes out the window faster than Mojo Jojo's career prospects. That's essentially mass psychological assault, public endangerment, and depending on how you interpret interdimensional instability, maybe even eco-terrorism. He's not just disturbing the peace, he's detonating it. But perhaps one of the darkest moments in him's resume is the way he preys on the girl's emotional weaknesses.
What have we done?
He doesn't just fight them, he makes them doubt themselves.
Don't you love us anymore? Yeah, you act as if you, yeah, hate us. Who said that?
why?
He breaks up their bond, turns them against each other, and forces them to relive their worst fears.
They're fighting because of you.
That's a psychological offensive more devastating than any laser beam or punch. And while emotional manipulation isn't often punished in cartoons, in a courtroom, especially involving minors, it could land him with dozens of child endangerment charges, plus a long stint in solitary confinement, assuming the guards can even look him in the eye. What makes him uniquely terrifying is that he doesn't seek money, power, or revenge. He thrives on chaos, fear, and despair. He weaponizes the intangible, hope, love, trust, and rips it to shreds in a pink cloud of glitter and malice. At this point, him's looking at multiple life sentences, international war crime tribunals, and probably a permanent place on the UN's no-fly list. And still, somehow, it gets worse. Next, we're diving into the end-of-the-world scenarios, the times him went full Lovecraftian horror show and nearly erased all of existence just for fun. You thought the devil wore Prada? No, darling. The devil wears thigh-high boots and emotionally ruins entire cities. Right, let's peel back the final, velvet-gloved layer of him's chaos. At this point, we've seen the psychological torment, the brainwashing, the dystopian timelines, But all of that was him just warming up. Because when he really cuts loose, things start looking less like a children's cartoon and more like the Book of Revelation. If it were directed by David Lynch and scored by Britney Spears in reverse, let's talk about the time him almost erased reality itself. That's not hyperbole. In Powernoia, he infects the entire city of Townsville with such intense paranoia that everyone turns on each other.
Oh man, this carnage is creeping me out!
Neighbors attack neighbors, friends turn cold, trust disappears completely, and all it takes is a whisper. No flashy battles, no fireballs, just fear.
What's wrong with you people? Get a hold of yourselves!
Real-world equivalent? This falls under large-scale psychological warfare. When you're deliberately inciting mass panic and social collapse for your own amusement, that's not just illegal, it's a federal and international nightmare. Under laws dealing with bioterrorism and mass civil unrest, the penalties can include life in prison without parole, especially if deaths or long-term trauma result. And they do. Townsville is never quite the same after him stops by. It's like trauma has its own zip code there now. But if him's psychological attacks weren't terrifying enough, there's his manipulation of the supernatural.
Poor, unsuspecting Townsville, all sins, unaware of the evil that takes place high above your heads, and
He's summoned eldritch horrors, opened rifts to other realms, and has, more than once, appeared as an omnipotent, dimension-shifting entity. In one episode, he quite literally toys with the concept of death, reviving himself from oblivion to mock the Powerpuff Girls, stretch reality like taffy, and casually taunt the laws of existence.
Yeah, hate us. Who said that?
of course.
It's him!
Now, if someone in the real world even claimed to do this, they'd probably be institutionalized. But if it were real, we'd be talking about crimes against the natural order, violations of interdimensional sovereignty, and maybe threats to global stability. Sure, we're reaching into the sci-fi legal bag here, but given how many lives and timelines him's meddled with, you could argue for existential terrorism. And considering the fallout, mass trauma, distorted perception of time, dimension-hopping invasions, he'd likely be held in something stronger than a maximum security prison. Think containment under international metaphysical law. Yes, we just made that up. But for him, it's still not enough. And then there's the emotional carnage. Him doesn't just want to defeat the Powerpuff Girls. He wants to make them cry first. He wants to break their spirits, watch them fall apart, and then gloat while wearing eyeliner sharp enough to cut glass. There's an argument to be made that his most insidious crime is the sheer number of emotional scars he's inflicted. Townsville has seen monsters, aliens, even Mojo Jojo's schemes. But him leaves a mark, and no cartoon band-aid is going to fix that. So, what's the final sentence for a villain who's waged psychological war, manipulated the minds of children, destabilized time and space, and possibly rewritten the laws of physics with nothing but a sinister laugh and a cloud of glitter? It's hard to say. If we tally everything up, emotional abuse, mind control, inciting mass panic, endangering minors, unlawful imprisonment, terrorism, destruction of public property, interdimensional tampering, we're looking at well over 2,000 years in prison. Add in the supernatural charges that don't even exist yet, and him would probably be sentenced to eternal containment in a pocket dimension, surrounded by salt circles, holy water, and the tears of every child he's ever emotionally scarred. But here's the terrifying truth. Him can't really be imprisoned. He doesn't obey gravity or rules or even logic. He's not just a villain, he's a force. A red, shrieking, high-heeled force of unfiltered chaos. So yeah, lock him up all you want. Just don't expect the door to stay closed for long.